Hello again, everyone. This is May 15th, Friday, May 15th, and I'm not going to plan on releasing this video until June, but I have some really cool materials here, and I wanted to talk about how brides could do something for a reasonable cost for a bridal bouquet. If you're willing to do it yourself, I think you could come up with a beautiful bouquet to have on your wedding day without spending, the prices that florists charge. I think the biggest challenge, if you're going to do that, is the availability and the access that you have to the flowers that you want to use. When I got married, I pretty much used roses and baby's breath, and I got married in December, so I wanted holly. I wanted, holly berries and leaves in my bouquet for that time to kind of give it a little bit of color. But if I were going to get married now, or if when my daughters get married, I have some things that I would like them to use. They probably won't want to use those. But I'm just saying, I've got a different taste in flowers now than I did back in 1992. And I really like the homegrown flowers. I think Pinterest has really changed the way brides and people, who like to do crafts they've changed the game, because they've given the common person like me instructions on how and what they use, and it's opened up a whole new world really for me as a hobby with flower arranging. But one thing I found when I was on Pinterest initially are these, and they're called ranunculus, and I didn't know anything about them when I saw what they look like, but I did some research and looked into things and just found these gorgeous flowers. And I think that they're also called buttercups, is a common term that people use. But I was able to, this morning I just got back, and I found, I made a new friend today with a flower farmer down in southern Indiana, Kathy, and she grows these here in Indiana. And I got a whole bucket of stems and some other things that I'll show you for $20. And she grows these herself on her farm. The other thing that I have here today, which is sort of a staple of, I feel like, bridal bouquets, are peonies. And my friend here in town, Elena, is letting me come out and cut from her homegrown ones right on her yard. So I have these peonies. I'm going to incorporate these. And then this is called Lisianthus. This is a little bit harder to find, but I did find this at JC. I think it was last week, and these last really long in the vase, and they're pretty popular for bridal bouquets, so I'm going to incorporate that in my bouquet today. And then my friend Elena had these viburnum growing in her yard, so I'm going to use those. I have some Dusty Miller here that I have in my own yard. And then I've also got some of the leatherleaf fern flowers. Another thing that's really popular that I've seen is astilbes, and I just bought this pot. The girls got me a gift certificate to Lowe's. So I bought an Astilbe plant at Lowe's. So I'm hoping that I can start using those in my bouquets after they grow. But I want to do a hand-tied, what's called a hand-tied bouquet. And this could be done, you know, the night before. I mean, maybe the night before your wedding, you're not really wanting to worry about your flowers. But let's say that you were getting married on Saturday. I think you could do this on Thursday night. And if you kept them in cool temperatures, they will look beautiful on Saturday when you get married. If you had time the night before, obviously that would be better because it won't have time to wilt or anything. But any of these flowers are gonna hold up if you keep them even in moderate conditions. They should hold up for a day or two. When I'm making bouquets for people, I want something that's gonna last in the vase at least a week, hopefully 2 weeks. But if you're gonna do something for your wedding, you don't need it to hold up that long. You would need about 3 days worth for it to look nice. And so I'm just gonna talk about how you could do this. It's called a hand-tied bouquet. And I think it would be really cool to do with your bridesmaids, the bride and the bridesmaids. You do this, you know, as a group to get ready for the wedding. I think that would be a really nice activity to kind of bond the members of the group, and everybody, you know, has their own bouquet that they've made themselves. I think the biggest challenge once again is the access to these kinds of flowers. The reason I'm doing this video today is because I realized I have all these materials and it's kind of hard for me to find this selection, you know, right when I want it. So it would take some planning, and if you would ever want to do this, I do have contacts with a couple of people down in southern Indiana who that I found I can get these kinds of flowers from this time of year. Hopefully through, like, you know, the middle of June, these would be around. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start with this that I got out of Elena's yard, and she just grows it in her yard, and she let me take some. So I'm just gonna hold that in my hand, and your hand becomes the vase. And then you can just start adding things in your hand and placing. So I usually start off with some greens like this to give it some structure. Then I'm gonna take a peony. These are just gorgeous. And I'm gonna put, if it's a larger flower, I'm gonna put it down lower so that your eye will go down. And you want to take this and cross it at a 45-degree angle and then twist, and you'll begin to start seeing your bouquet come to life in your hands. The other thing I got when I was at Kathy's today was this. I can't remember what she called it, but I think it's gorgeous, and it's gonna give it a really whimsical type of feel, and I can begin to incorporate it into my bouquet. There are some pretty big pieces here, so I could just tear this off and lay some in the front so that, you know, it begins to fill out. The other thing that she had, which I love, this is called Nigella. It's also called Love in a Mist, but you can see it's got the little purple buds, and I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. So things like that, you know, you're not gonna be able to find this unless you grow it yourself, or, you know, you can find somebody like Kathy who grows it. But I'm just gonna keep adding things and layering, and I'll show you what I end up with. I'm taking pretty much everything at a 45-degree angle and then doing like a little twist. The other thing with your hand ties is that you can place flowers, you know, down into the bouquet after you've got your base sort of set up here. And now I'm gonna start using what I think are the star of the show, are these ranunculus. Oh my goodness, they're absolutely gorgeous. But with something that has a smaller size bud, you know, you want it to be higher than the ones that are the bigger flowers. You could go with all white. She did have a large selection of just white ones that I got, but I kind of like it when there's a little pop of a hot pink, or, you know, just a little bit of color. Here is a really nice, beautiful color that I feel like, you know, if depending on your wedding colors, this would work really well. But I'm just sticking these, you know, at different places. I tend to do bouquets for vases that have like a front and a back. For this, you would want to make sure that you're going all the way around. But even, you know, even on your wedding day, you can have a little bit of a front to back because you're going to be holding it. And if you are doing this, I would do it in front of a mirror, and I would check, you know, what my flowers look like, because I'm going to be coming down the aisle like this and seeing what they look like for pictures and that kind of stuff. And I'm not, you know, I've been blessed. I've had a few people ask me to help them with their wedding flowers, and that is something that I would like to kind of get into the more I practice. But I haven't officially done a wedding bouquet yet. I know that brides can be very, and they should be very picky about what they want. And with being the amateur that I am, I want to make sure that I can put together something nice that they will like, and not show up that day with, you know, something that they don't like. I think this is a really pretty flower. I grew this from seed, and the Floret Farms people sell some really nice seeds. I've had this in a vase this is the second week, and it still looks really fresh. So, you know, with a smaller flower, I could incorporate it kind of in the middle and just sort of letting it coming up and out. Probably need to tuck that in a little bit more. But as I'm working here, I can just add things in. You know, I can add things in places where I want them, and just keep building the bouquet until I have it where I want it. It would be nice to have met with the bride, and, you know, just to make sure that she likes this, or I could show a picture. But again, I have to make sure that I can actually get the flowers for her. Now, this to me is a very nice size bouquet. If I'm standing back here, and you can kind of see it's pretty big. I think brides are, you know, kind of using bigger bouquets. Of course, this could be tailored down if you wanted something that was smaller. But then at this point, when I have it, the shape and everything, I can take just this floral wire, and I'm going to wrap it around the stems, and I'm going to cut that off. And then, you know, usually that will hold the bouquet together. Then you might want to do, this is just burlap. I think that's kind of popular right now. Burlap, and then I could do like a ribbon here, make a ribbon in the front, and then, you know, this becomes the bridal bouquet. It has all of the flowers that are popular right now. I feel like it's really got a gorgeous garden type of look to it, which is what I like. I don't like things that are super uniform or, you know, that look like they've been planned out exactly down to the T. I'm more of a, you know, as I said, work off the fly, sort of frilly. Just let the flowers go where they want to. They're gorgeous. So if you're that way and you're getting ready to get married, I really think that you could do something for, this would cost you about $40 to $50. If you paid for these off the internet, it would probably, or through a florist, I'm guessing that you would at least have about $100 to $125 in this. And before you add the ribbon, you cut this down. You just take your clippers or your scissors and cut the stems where you want to, and then you can place it in a jar of water overnight until you're ready to use the bouquet the next day or the next day. And again, I think I could have really, you can kind of see if I would have clipped off that astilbe, my gosh, that just goes perfectly right there. So, you know, maybe between what you could find from some friends, or like I said, I've got some contacts down in Southern Indiana. If you want to do something like this, I could help you with that. I'm kind of hoping maybe someday I can get into this kind of thing, but I do think it's a really good alternative to, you know, just going with the local florist if you want to do something yourself. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you're staying healthy, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.